Here's a look at week 8 for English class. It's a virtual field trip to Washington, D.C. Although we'd rather go in person, we don't have that option right now. But I hope you enjoy exploring some of these sites here. You can see on the cover slide the cherry blossoms, which are in bloom right now or winding down right now. And that is the Jefferson Memorial in the background. Here's the suggested schedule for the week. Each day is the same activity, just choose a different tour site. So on Monday, if you want to do slide 3, on Tuesday, slide 4, then slide 5, then slide 6, and then there is an extra credit option slide as well. Okay, here is just a quick glance at all 4 slides at once. What I wanted to point out to you is that you're going to do the same thing on each slide. The name of the place that you visit, 3 facts, and what's the most interesting. Okay, so here's a closer look at the Monday slide. And you want to begin by going to this link, the virtual DC trip. You may have to present your slides to get the link to work. And from there, you're going to get a long list of choices of places to visit. You're going to select one place, type the name of the place that you visited here, find 3 facts from that place, and what you think is most interesting about that place. 2 to 3 sentences will go in the bottom of this slide. When you launch that link, you will see it's 50 plus places to visit in Washington, D.C., and it'll be a wide range of places. You can go to the White House, to the National Zoo, the Aquarium, Embassy Road, Frederick Douglass, Mount Vernon. You won't be able to open up anything that's in black. The blue links are the ones that will launch. So choose from the blue, unless you want to use the internet to open up some that are in black, but they will not launch from this website. My suggestions, places like as a shore group, we were not able to get into the White House, and we're not able to get into Ford's Theater most of the time. So those are good ones. You may want to check out the Holocaust Museum. That's really powerful. And a lot of kids like the Air and Space. You're going to choose 4 places to visit. So just click around and see which ones seem interesting to you. Okay, so I opened up the White House because I think that's one that we see on the news all the time, and I think this would be an interesting place to visit. So you would read through the information, and remember, we're looking for 3 facts and what's interesting about it. So let me read a little bit of this to you. It says, our first president, George Washington, selected the site for the White House in 1791. George Washington, though, never got to live in the White House. The cornerstone was laid in 1792, and a competition design submitted by Irish-born architect James Hoban was chosen. After 8 years of construction, President John Adams and his wife Abigail moved into the unfinished house in 1800. During the War of 1812, the British set fire to the president's house in 1814. Whoa, they set fire to it. James Hoban was appointed to rebuild the house, and President Monroe moved into the building in 1817. During the Monroe administration, the south portico was constructed in 1824, and Andrew Jackson oversaw the addition of the north portico. In 1829, during the late 19th century, various proposals were made to significantly expand the president's house or build an entirely new home for the president, but these plans were never realized. So this is some background information about the White House. And you can see that John Adams was the first one to actually move in there, even though it was unfinished. It goes on to say every president since John Adams has occupied the White House, and the history of the building extends far beyond the construction of its walls. From the ground floor corridor rooms, transformed to their early use of service areas, to the state floor rooms where countless leaders and dignitaries have been entertained. The White House is both the home of the President of the United States and his family, and a museum of American history. The White House is a place where history continues to unfold. Now, this is what I found the most interesting, this number right here. There's 132 rooms in the White House. There are 35 bathrooms. And there's 6 levels of residence. There's also 412 doors, 147 windows, 28 fireplaces, 8 staircases, and there's 3 elevators inside. The White House kitchen is able to serve dinner for 140 guests. I can make dinner maybe for 6 people. And so it requires 570 gallons of paint to cover the outside surface. At various times in history, the White House has been known as the President's Palace, the President's House, or the Executive Mansion. President Theodore Roosevelt officially gave the White House its current name in 1901. So again, you're finding 3 facts and what's interesting. So you go back to the slide and fill in, I would fill in here the White House and then pull out 3 facts. Put it here, 35 bathrooms. John Adams was the first president to live there. Just kind of go toggle back and forth and pick out the interesting facts. And then what do you think is the most interesting? You could say maybe it was set fire and rebuilt, or they keep adding on to it. So you would put a couple sentences here about the White House. So then for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you would pick 3 more places. Again, these are totally up to you. I know kids like the Air and Space Museum, and I personally love going into Ford's Theater. So you decide what you want to look around at. When I opened the Air and Space Museum, this is the view, and you can see some space and airplanes, and it's really cool looking. I also liked the virtual reality of Ford's Theater, and it is so beautiful in there. And this one, it gives you the panoramic view, and you could see this is what it would be like to be standing on stage and looking out at the crowd. And then you can get your facts here. So Ford's Theater is restored to look almost exactly as it did the night of April 14th, 1865. That's when Abe Lincoln was assassinated. That night, John Wilkes Booth, a racist Confederate sympathizer, assassinated President Abraham Lincoln. And then here's the booth. He was, I don't know if it was here, or this booth, or that. He was up in the booth. The president was. When managers at Ford's Theater learned that Lincoln would attend the performance, which was called Our American Cousin, they decorated one of the expensive boxes that overlooked the stage and draped flags and a lithograph of George Washington. Here's a picture of George Washington right there, to make it a presidential evening for him. And then this would have been Abe's view. If he sat right here, sat right here in this chair right here. This is his view of the stage, looking down. And he was with Henry Rathbone and his fiance, and they were seated in this exact box right here, this booth. And it just made it special for the president. And then sadly, John Wilkes Booth came into the booth and shot him and then jumped down on the stage. And he injured himself when he jumped off of the booth onto the stage. He injured his leg and then took off behind the stage. And he got on a horse, and then it was days later till they found John Wilkes Booth himself. So you decide where you want to visit, what you want to look at. Those are some of my suggestions. The White House, the Air and Space Museum, Ford's Theater. Just kind of click around and see what's interesting and fill out the slides. You may want to do the extra credit as you go because it's super easy. All you have to do is make a photo board. Insert 4 to 8 pictures below of places you chose to visit, and make sure you label each place. So, just take screenshots of the 4 places that you visited and then put labels here. So White House, you get the idea, and put your pictures there. That's a super easy extra credit activity. Okay, so you're gonna tour 1, 2, 3, tour 4 places, put the pictures there, and that's it. Submit your slides for the week, and hopefully gives you a little background about Washington, D.C., and down the road I'm sure you'll be able to visit there one day.